Inversions literally change your world. They change your perspective. And in yoga, inversions are an important piece of the practice. You can do an inversion by going into downward facing dog or a standing forward bend. You can also do a much more advanced inversion like a handstand, a headstand, pincha mayurasana. There are a lot of varieties of inversions. If you have a head or a neck injury, there are ways to do inversions to keep you very safe in the practice. In this practice, we'll be looking at some of those alternatives that you can do to make sure that you gain a new perspective in your practice through inversions. They're so beneficial for us. If you have blocks, grab them. There's one pose that you might want to just observe. It requires 2 chairs. We'll start standing. Stand tall. If you've got your blocks, grab them and see about taking the blocks pretty tall in front of you so that you can come down and possibly take your head to a position where you're just allowing the head to rest. Now, if this is way too deep for you, just bend your knees so that you can still get the benefits. I'm pressing my third eye area, but if you'd rather press your forehead onto the blocks to just provide just a little resistance, but not much weight bearing, go ahead to do what works for you. This is called uttanasana. We are allowing ourselves to feel the effects here of inverting, of taking the head lower than the heart. Now, in the same way, downward facing dog is an inversion, but it requires a little weight on your hands. So take your downward facing dog stance by coming all the way to your belly so that we can customize the right distance between your hands and your feet. Come up to all fours position. You'll notice that your hands are forward of your shoulders. Now lift up into downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, if you'd like to have a block to press your forehead to, feel free to do that. Otherwise, keep your shoulders lifted, your elbows lifted, and as you enjoy the benefits of this pose, where your foundation is both your feet and your hands, see if you can come to a very natural yet full breath. Just allow for a nice ease. You hold the pose. And being upside down like this really does shift your perspective. And when you have 4 points of your foundation, you feel very stable. Like you're ready to shift your perspective. Now release. Take the block away if you're using the block. And lift yourself up to downward facing dog again. This time just walk your feet in 1 footprint and lift your right leg up. Take the right foot down. Take your left leg up. Draw it down. Walk your feet just a little bit closer to your hands. Now you've got an alignment that is a bit different than downward facing dog. So the shoulders are over your wrists. You reach your right leg up and you reach your left leg up. Release to all fours position. In all fours position, interlace your fingers. Have your elbows a little tighter, a little narrower than the shoulder, distant. With your toes tucked under, lift your pelvis up and walk in. So your head is free. You're pressing your forearms. Lift your right leg up and take it down. Lift your left leg up and take it down. Come back to your knees and take a block right between your hands with your thumb and the inside of your index finger pressing into the block as a way to keep the hands from gliding in toward each other. When you put a little bit more weight on the forearms, lift your pelvis up and walk in. It's a little bit more strenuous than the fingers interlaced. You can lift up one leg, lift up the other leg, release. And let's come to the wall. So we've done a variety of inversions here on the mat. Now let's use the wall to help us out in an inversion. I like to measure how far I need to be away from the wall. So if you take your pelvis to the baseboard and see how far your feet extend, that's essentially where you want to put your hands. Come to all fours position with your hands essentially where your heels were pressing the mat, and lift your pelvis up. Just like we were doing in the downward facing dog, lift your right leg up, tuck your toes under. Maybe you can lift your left leg up. And now you're kind of like a ladder. You're just kind of leaning against the wall here. So you can do that and come down. You get the benefits of an inversion. With the body being at a nice angle. For the hands to be a little bit more weight bearing to prepare you for handstand, we'll walk the legs down the wall. So we've got a nice L shape at the wall. So place your hands roughly in the same place that you measured earlier. Lift your pelvis up. Take your feet to the wall. Now walk them down the wall and press from the heart to the pelvis, to the heels, and release your feet down and pause there. Each time you go upside down, just notice the difference. It really does change your world. So you give yourself a break between each of the poses. If you'd like, you can go to a full handstand now in this progression that we're doing. So turn yourself toward the wall. Come to downward facing dog. Walk in as you're ready. And come down as you're ready. Handstands are definitely poses that begin to shift your practice immensely. But you can do any one of these variations to have very similar effects. I'm going to get 2 chairs now. Next, we'll do what we call a headless headstand. And in the headless headstand, similar to what we were doing on the mat, we have the forearms down and the head is lifted away from the mat. So you can interlace your fingers at the baseboard, lift your pelvis up, walk in, and as you're ready, you can lift up. Give a nice engagement of the arms. The head is lifted. The legs are very active. Toes are spread. Come down as you're ready. And rest. And we'll set up for another variation that just allows a little bit more opening for the shoulders. I've got 2 chairs here, and the chair edges form a V. I can take my hands right on the chair seat, and the rounded edges of the chair seat feel comfortable enough for me to use this as a way to support me very fully in, once again, a headless headstand using the chairs. This is a nice way to create just a little bit more freedom in the neck, yet we get the full benefits of going upside down. With the hands at the corners of the chair, I take my head right in the V here, and I've got freedom in the neck. You can lift up your leg. And get a feeling of freedom in the neck without any weight bearing on the head. And you rest afterwards. The final one we'll be doing is called viparsita karani. This is a wonderful inversion that is accessible to so many. You don't need to be an advanced practitioner for this. So we'll come back to the mat and we'll be using blocks. You could also use a wall, and I've got several practices that includes the legs up the wall. I'll give you the link in the description below. On your mat with your knees bent, have your blocks available and lift your pelvis up and find what for you feels like a nice elevation. so that we can turn this into an inversion. And as you come to that posture that feels right for you, nice supported bridge pose. As you're ready, you can lift your feet up. Your feet could be at the wall. Now we've got the support of the blocks. We're not at the wall, but it seems very accessible. So allow a nice ease in your breath. Keep your legs active. And enjoy the benefits of this inversion. If it feels a little too high for your pelvis, by all means, lower the pelvis. As you're ready, you can lower the legs, remove the blocks, straighten the legs, and come to Savasana. After poses that shift your perspective so dramatically, like inversions, it's important to ground yourself. It's important to come to a very free and natural breath. Just begin to notice any shifts that occurred for you. Assimilate the actions that you did. Thank you for joining me in this inversion practice. Another opportunity to shift our perspective through yoga. Namaste.